Hello everyone, welcome to my live stream. It's Monday, so that means it's time for Inktober 52, which is the year-long weekly Inktober prompt challenge. And I am doing week 5, which the prompt is Mighty. It's the most recent prompt that's been released. And I'm doing something a little different, at least for me, as far as what I've done so far. Everything has been from my imagination, but this time I'm going to use a couple reference images that I've got up here. Actually, I need to click on them to get this little carousel at the bottom of the screen off. Okay, there. So for Mighty, I looked up what is the strongest bird, and when I just picked the first site that I found. I didn't do like huge research, but it actually said that the black wheat ear is the strongest bird for its size because it can carry rocks up to... Oh, here comes Aoife. Aoife, you coming in? Come in. Come in. Well, never mind. She changed her mind and left. Okay, where was I? Let's see. Oh, the wheat ear is the strongest bird for its size because it can carry rocks, which it uses to decorate its, like, cliff-side nest that are up to, I think it was either 1/3 or 2/3 its weight. I mean, 1/3 its weight is respectable enough, and I think it might have been 2/3. But anyway, I just believed this article. I was like, okay, we're going to do the black wheat ear. And then I was like, what is a good back half for the griffin? I first was like, well, I'll just make it a cap. And I'm like, it doesn't really match because the wheat ear is such a teeny tiny looking little bird. So I decided to do what I usually do. I figured out where wheat ears live on the planet, generally in the wild. And then I looked for other similarly sized mammals that could match. And I found a dormouse. And I realize now I've never seen a dormouse before. And it's extremely cute. So I was super happy. I was like, this is going to work great because, not just because it's cute and because it seems like the right size, but, oh, my printer is finally activating. So if you're hearing a bunch of background noise, that's what that is. It also works because the wheat ear is all black except for on its tail. It has white, and then just the tip of the tail is black again. And so it's kind of similar to what I'm seeing on the dormouse, where the dormouse has gray, but there's white on the underside, and the white goes all the way to the end, and then there's a black line on the top of the tail going like the second half of the tail. Anyway, I don't know if my description with words alone makes any sense, but that's what I'm gonna go for today. I'm going to draw this black wheat ear dormouse griffin carrying a stone being mighty. I want to check one more time, see if my dogs change their mind about whether they want to come in or not. Nope, they are long gone. Okay, well, if they want to come in, they'll knock on the door. So, with their little paws, they go, shoo. That's the dog knock. Shoo. Anyway, so let's open up this. This is what I'm using until it runs out, I guess, for Inktober this year, for the Inktober 52 challenge. This bag is unrelated. I just thought it was cute and I like to have a reason to use it. What's in here are the Inktober supplies I got from the retreat last year. So first is the Moleskine Inktober special collab sketchbook, Moleskine. And this is where I've been putting everything so far, and I think I'll do it again today for the most part. So this was last week, and it barely went over the gutter, but for most of my previous drawings, I've been just drawing across the gutter, so I think I'll do that again today with this prompt. Also this set of zebra stuff, so here's the Sarasa fine liners, and these are the mild liners. They're kind of like highlighters, but they're just mild colors, so that's why they're called mild liners. Here is a pencil sharpener for the pencil that I chose, which was not part of the kit from Inktober. I just selected this on my own. It's a Palomino Blackwing. It says $7.25. I believe it was based on a guitar, on the look of a guitar, so I just really think it's cool. This is like my favorite colors. Black and red going together. It doesn't have silver though. It has gold on the end. Silver, black, red, and silver is my fave. But the other thing, so that's everything, are these two zebra brush pens. This end of both is the same, a medium brush pen, but on this red colored one, there's also a small brush pen. So what I've been doing is this is for lining and this is for filling in. Otherwise, it's literally the same thing on this end, and I needed something to make them different for me, so that's what I'm doing. Okay, so we're not that far in, so I'll just like flip through real quick the ones I've done so far. Once I get into like the end of the year and there's like 50 of these, I don't know if I'm gonna go through them every time because it'll take longer and longer, but okay. Got my new spread open. Wow, we're in the middle of the register, so you can see the stitching where this register of pages is. This is the middle. So this is this, and this is all the one same sheet of paper. That's how you know it's the middle. A little book information for you. I've learned a lot about books, the construction of books and everything, in my quest to become a published author. A writer-illustrator is what I'm working on. Okay, so, well, I won't need this one. I'm going to start with this pencil first. And it's still looking quite sharp, so I probably won't even need this sharpener today. So let me just look at what I wanted the bird. I've got a reference image. I guess I'll just do a very general, because I want to have room for the rock it's going to be carrying. So this is the rock it's going to be carrying. And here's its head. And then the body comes down, the chest comes down like this. It has this almost like teardrop shape. Okay, and then this particular image, the bird is on the downstroke with its wings. Down instead of... anyway, I don't know if that makes sense, but... So the wings are actually coming down ways. Let's see, so how far out does it stick? It sticks out about this much. It doesn't need to be perfect, but I do want it to look like, I want it to be recognizable. Okay, that's the general shape of the wing right there. And then the other side, let's see, so it's actually from what is visible. Okay, so this is the, oh, I see, I drew this wing too high up. Let's draw it again. So this is the head, and then it's going up like this. Draw these lines for me. Beak here, and eye there. That'll help me see what's going on with my own sketch. Ooh, Exie, hello! Exie the xenobotanist is here! Great to see you! How's it going? I feel like the green color that your name is, I don't know if it's the same for everybody or if it's just for me. I feel like it's a slightly different green. Maybe it's just because the reference image I have up for the dormouse is a different kind of green, and so like having them next to each other makes it look different or something. Or maybe it just changes randomly. Okay. I'm trying to get a little more defined with the body because I got confused and drew the wing too high up because I thought the head was the body and the... Nope, that's not what it was. Okay, and then here we go, here we go. Goes down like this. Comes off of the back. Whip, whip, whip. The feathers are coming apart as its wings are like this. The feathers are not touching at the tips. At least these ones in the front. Oh, Exy changed it. Oh, I didn't know you could do that. Okay, it wasn't just me imagining it. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know you could change that. The green is appropriate for your name too, Xenobotanist. Some cool. It's not even just appropriate because botanist and green is often associated with plants, but the Xenobotanist, meaning like alien life forms, green is often, like little green men is a saying for alien, but human-like alien beings, I guess. And so it kind of matches because of the alien idea too. Okay, now I can draw this wing because I've got this one in its proper place. So it's, from what's visible, is actually a little lower. It comes out and down like this. And then the tip of the feathers are being pushed up by the air as it pushes down against the air, like the air is a bunch of things. Well, I guess it is, it's a bunch of particles. Okay, and the feathers are coming out in this fashion. Okay. And these feathers come down like this. There. Sweet. I never thought about that, but yeah, that's cool. Oh yeah, I never thought about it too until just this minute. I didn't know that you could change it, but maybe you knew already and you knew in your mind, but not actively or something. How are you doing? I couldn't catch streams recently. I'm doing pretty good. I have been keeping up with everything, and I was just today working on my printing, because I'm going to try to print the Patreon rewards that feature my art. I'm going to print them myself because it's gotten way too expensive for a little small art printer like me to print from. I was using Canva. It was like costing money. I wasn't like making any money, so it was like, what's the point? Like, I'm trying to make a career out of it. So it wasn't working. Now I'm just going to do it myself. And so that earlier my printer was like stuck, and I was like, well, it's time to stream, so too bad. And then it finally started going like on the stream. I'm like, well, at least it's working now. So I'm feeling really excited about that. So I've been printing my own prints, like regular, hold on, I'm looking at these reference images. Regular, like reproductions that are the exact same size of the original piece and stuff, like art prints. But I never did my own postcards for Patreon. Because at first it was cheaper to just have 50 cards printed or whatever. But not anymore. It's kind of annoying because when you go online and you're like, print postcards, they're all about marketing postcards, which is not what I'm doing. I'm doing art reproductions. Nobody seems to be catering to a small artist like me who just wants to send their art. So yeah, it is nice to be independent, I guess. Independent of the whims of the printing industry or something. I don't know, that sounds really negative. I'm not negative about it. I'm just trying to print my art, make it look nice, and not like spend $1 million on it. So I think I have found the solution. Print my own stuff. Alright, I don't think the tail is gonna fit on here. This dormouse tail is at least as long as its body. Oh, it's so cute and fluffy. I'm making it extra fluffy because it's just so cute. But if it's flying around in the air, it might be that fluffy. What the heck? There's something wrong with this foot. I gotta fix this. So how have you been doing, Exy? Any news about university program or Any cool projects going on? Or just hanging out and not worrying too much about anything? Alright. So I obviously don't have a reference of a dormouse flying, so I'm trying to figure this out. The reference image I have is the dormouse crouched on a branch. So I think I need to make these legs stick out way farther than they were. That might be what's bothering me. Plus, the foot needs to be thinner than what I was doing. It's very fluffy on the leg, but right where the ankle is, the fur is almost, it's not that it's naked, but the fur gets very thin and small, and it's not a big fluffy anymore. Okay, so it's big and fluffy here. And then here is where it tapers off. And it's got a very sharp looking heel. And yeah, let's make the toes going back like this. Aha, yeah, I think that helps a lot. Alright. And then the other leg. Same thing, fluffy and flying back. The foot is flying back. There. That's good enough. There we go. And I guess its back does come out a little bit above the tail. So maybe I'll just make the whole body a little rounder, like that. There we go. That's better. Alright, if I were to draw this again, I would have drawn it a little bit farther over this way. But I'm learning. That's what this is about for me. Inktober is about practicing. So I'm getting my practice in. And now I'm making this. I didn't do too much research into what they do with these stones, other than it said that they collect a bunch of them and put them up in their cliff, and it's people think it's a display of their prowess because they're so strong and they can carry these big stones up. Okay, this needs to go like this. Okay. And I saw a picture of their nests, and it looked like it was just a bunch of flat stones. So that's what I'm drawing, a little kind of flat. Although I want to make it a little more angular, because this is looking kind of like a bean or something. I don't want it to look like a bean. I want it to look like an angular stone, a mineral, some sort of mineral. There. Regardless of whether it looks like a mineral, that's gonna have to be good enough. So I don't want to spend too long. Oh, okay. The university results will be announced at the 10th. So what's that, a few days? Ooh, are you getting excited? Are you getting antsy? I would get antsy. It's coming up, but it's not. It's coming closer, but it's not close enough. I'm just applying for jobs, make my living abroad dream come true. Oh, yeah, cool. It's looking great already. Nice. So, living abroad dream, you mean like you want to just live elsewhere permanently and just like, because some people I know, like, they'll live in another country for like some part of the year, but then they have their permanent residence in their originating country or whatever. Or some people just leave their homeland and live somewhere else for like the rest of their life or whatever. Were you thinking of either of those, or like it doesn't really matter, like you just want to see what happens kind of thing. I know people like that too. That they just live somewhere and they just see how it goes, and it goes good. They stay there for a while, and then something comes up and they're like, I want to go somewhere else, and they do that. Okay, so the head has an interesting second bump here like the neck, and then there's the shoulder comes out like this. Now I'm getting these little details. So the wing is actually coming straight down this way, and then there's a feather being whooped up by the air that it's pushing in. Here's another one, and then they start being more to the side because of the way the wing is curving. There. This is such good practice for my naturalistic style griffins. Okay, I got the one wing and now the other wing, get the details on, and then I can start inking. So here's this thicker part that's all the black feathers. And then it comes out and whoops up at the tip. So it's pushing against, so it's like whoosh. And then here's another one you can see sticking out. And then right here, there's actually a pretty sharp divide between feathers. And then it's like, these feathers almost look square here. There. Yeah. Okay. I am done with the pencil. Uh-huh, I see. I want to leave and never come back. Gotcha. In my graphic design exams, there was a drawing test, and I felt like watching you draw helped me in some sense. Aw, I'm so glad to hear that. It's really interesting, like making practice with just watching. I am so happy to hear that. Because that's how I learned. I just looked at other people's stuff, and I, like, especially when I very first... So I didn't start thinking of making a career out of it at first. I was just like a huge fan artist. Like I was so in love with anime and manga, and I was just imitating everything I could. I would literally pause an anime and just draw that scene. And I still have those pictures and everything. And then of course when I wanted to get like raise my skills up, then I would just like look up how to draw books by various different artists and stuff, and or watch tutorials online or whatever. So I don't know, it feels so special that I am helping someone else like that. So, well, thank you for letting me know. That is awesome. I hope that they liked your drawing too. I hope that you drawing test sounds so interesting to me. I think that there's such a thing these days at the university I graduated from, but it took me so long to complete my career there, you know, and get my degree, that actually when I first applied there was no test. So when other people in my program later, years later, because it took me so long, they were like, yeah, I had to apply to get into the illustration program and submit a portfolio and stuff, or something like that. And I was like, whoa, what? I didn't have to do that. They just let me in. You just pick it on, like, of course I had to apply to university, but that was just a general application. And then once I was accepted, all I had to do was pick my major, and that was it. And so, yeah, I wonder what it's like to do a drawing test. So I bet that, I don't know if there was a drawing test. Like, were you just there? And they were like, okay, now you draw this thing, and you have like an hour or something? Like, I don't know about them, but I liked it. I was actually proud of myself because I haven't been drawing for almost 5 to 6 years. Oh, wow. I'm glad that you liked it then. Good job. Yeah, well, if you were drawing before, I bet your skills were just sleeping. They didn't go away or anything. So, your skills were just there, waiting to be employed again. They're like, we're ready for you. We're ready to work for you. Oh, that's so cool. I hope you get in the graphic design program. I like science too. I love science, actually. But, I don't know. Now that I know that you did the drawing test and everything, it's just like, I'm kind of rooting for graphic design now. Okay. Yes, this is coming along nicely. And now we just gotta finish up the head here. And the rock. And leave the shiny bit on the eye. Neat. Okay. So now, hopefully I can make this look like a rock. I'm gonna do lots of jagged, broken lines as I ink it. So hopefully that will help. Well, it looks like something. At least it doesn't, it looked too smooth, like perfectly smooth. It's like it was a weird guitar pick or something to me before. So I'm at least happier with that now. Okay, so I'm so tempted to erase, but I haven't been erasing on any of these other ones. Well, I did on this, but that's because I was specifically going for this effect and I didn't erase up here. So I'll leave it. I'll just continue. So let's see. I think I will imitate the shadows as I see them on this reference image 2. Of course, I'm just going to have to guess a little bit because obviously it's not a reference image of a griffin. So the back half is a bird half in the reference images, but it looks like the wing pretty much covers up this whole back part. Just gonna fill this in. For some reason these pens feel really dry today. Maybe it's just really dry in here, but hopefully they're not already running out. We're only on the 4th drawing. I've got plenty more pens though. Even if they do run out, it's not like it's gonna be a problem. I'll just use some other, in fact I have 2 more of these exact pens, so I'm not worried about that. Okay. And then there's also shadow just on from its own body. Because the sun is coming down like this in this reference picture. And so I imagine that if it was a real griffin in real life, there would be shadow down here too. It was like all the students sit in a workshop and there was a model in the middle. Oh, and they gave us an hour to draw the model. Sit still, we drew. I think I managed to draw her body fine, but couldn't figure out the face good enough. But overall, it looked like her. Hee. Okay, I see. Interesting. Okay, so you had a human. So they wanted you to draw from a live human reference. Interesting. Have you heard about the perfect pitch? I have not. What is the perfect pitch? I've heard of Pitch Perfect, which is like a movie series, I think. I think it's about singing. Okay, and this wing is like in shadow from here because this part of the body is shading the wing, but then the sun is able to hit from right here. And then once I get done filling in these big parts, I will use some hatching to show the dark part of the body is basically everything until the tail is all dark. The beak is the darkest part outside of the eye as well. Okay, so now I'm just going to use some hatching to just imitate, to suggest darker feathers, but not super black. Because the super black area is just a shadow part. Oh, and like the eye and stuff. And also here, the wing, the underside of the wing seems lighter, or maybe it's just because more light can come through the feathers. So I'm going to do some hatching here showing where it's a little darker, but it's still not totally black like those other areas. Basically where the feathers overlap. It's an ability to recognize tones of sounds without any reference, like the beeping of a microwave, or a random piano tone, or an ambulance siren sound. Interesting. I feel like I've heard of that. They say it's like seeing colors and telling the difference between them, but for sounds. Ooh. So, what made you think about that? Do you have that? Are you able to like just make a microwave sound? Like beep. Or recognize. So it's not about making them, recognizing them. No. Okay. Gotcha. That reminds me of birds. I've been learning a lot about. Been reading a book called The Bird Way, and it has a section about birds that imitate sounds. And they can do everything. They can make like the sound of a chainsaw in the forest or whatever. Crazy. So amazing. They can make multiple different sounds at the same time because the way their vocal cords are made, or they called it something else, but basically the bird equivalent of vocal cords. And I was like, oh, that's such a good idea. I'm definitely incorporating that into my griffin stories, where I'm going to be like, the griffins can sing in harmony, like, but it's just one griffin because they'll have multiple, like, they can make the same sounds. Or, well, what am I trying to say? They can make, it'll be like a choir, but it's a single griffin is able to do it. That's my idea anyway. I haven't found exactly where I'm going to put that, but I heard you can't learn it after age 5 to 7, so I'm trying to learn it to prove them wrong. Yes! I love that. Yeah, I bet you can. I bet you can learn it. It might, I bet what it is like with language. They say it's very hard to learn a second language if you're an adult and you never learned a second language as a child, and I don't think it's impossible. Maybe it's harder, but that doesn't mean it can't be done. I can't wait to hear from you. And you're like, I did it. Yeah. It's just like with, so I'm still thinking about that. They used to say that humans could not run a marathon in under 2 hours because the human would literally die. And then there's that super famous marathon guy, and he totally did it. So People shouldn't say stuff like that, where it's like, oh, well, the reason why is because you die. Well, has anybody run it and then died? Like, nobody has actually... There's a word for that. What is the word for that? Anyway. Yeah, I love that, though. Yeah, proving them wrong. Yeah, that's so interesting. My best friend is a bird watcher, and whenever we go out together to watch bird, he recognizes all the birds from their sounds even before we see them. Ah, that's so cool. I love listening for my favorite birds, and it seems like every year, I feel like I've brought this up before, but every year I seem to notice another new bird sound, and it's probably always been there. But as I slowly, like, Google all the sounds and learn, like, oh, that's a black cat chickadee. That's a, what kind of, we have a woodpecker in this area, or whatever. Or that's a peregrine falcon, or whatever. I think that as I identify them, it makes room for new sounds to be identified. And so that is so cool that your friend can just do that. Oh, that reminds me of a section I read in that book. It said that some of those mimicking birds that can imitate, like, pretty much anything, like artificial sounds or other birds or other, like, mammals or anything, they can imitate, like, the sound of the wind or fire or whatever. I lost my train of thought because I was just thinking about how cool that is. It said that the scientists were having a struggle because they're trying to count one kind of bird in an area based on the different sounds they're hearing from that bird. Oh, hold on. My dog is knocking at my door. I knew that she would want in eventually. Come on. Good girls. Yep, they both came in together. Okay, finally getting to the end of my story. They have a hard time counting the number of birds that they're actually looking for because these mimicking birds will make that bird sound. And so they can't count the number of birds accurately because the mimic bird is there making noise too. So I think that's really funny. Foiled by the bird, and bird has every right to do what it does in its own home. So I think that's a really funny story. Okay, I think I've got the overall look good. So this is supposed to be, it's all black feathers, but it's in bright sunlight, so actually black feathers and fur and stuff, it looks actually brown when it's in bright sunlight. And then the tail is white. But the dormouse tail has this black spot on it, so I'm going to do some really long lines to indicate that black spot. Now. I remember this. I guess I've heard it from a YouTube video. It's so funny, that being trolled by a bird. Yep. Bird doesn't know anything about scientists studying stuff. It's just like, I want to imitate this kind of bird today. Or whatever. Who knows? Who knows what the thought process is? Animals are so cool. I love it. I love learning about them. And then just learning, like, they're... Like, growing up, everybody would say stuff like, oh, you're just anthropomorphizing, you're just putting your human experience on the animal, but this book I've been reading is showing that actually that's sort of doing a disservice to the animal, because then we say stuff like, oh, animals don't have fun, they're just training their muscles to grow up strong or something, and it's like, what? Why wouldn't they have fun? Like, we have fun. Why wouldn't they play for fun? That was a recent chapter that I read, was birds playing. And now I'm in another chapter. I just started the next chapter, and it's talking about this bird that just sounds adorable. I think it's called a Kea. It's a Kea. And I haven't read too much so far, but it says they're called the clowns of the jungle or something because they're so playful that they're like people see them like clowns or something. But anyway, I'm really excited to learn more about these adorable sounding birds. What I read so far was that the researcher, she just has her clothes are just full of holes because whenever she goes in, the birds all come over to her and want to play with her, and they just like peck holes in her clothes, and then they want to open the hole. And so their game is like every time she comes in, the holes get bigger and bigger because they're like, "Woo, we can make this even bigger," or whatever. Like, it just sounds freaking adorable. Oh, if you could have a bird living near your window and you could see it frequently, which bird would you like to have? Oh, that's a good question. Oh, I gotta think about it. Well, my favorite bird of prey is the peregrine falcon. But I don't know. That would be really cool to have, because one time recently, like within the past couple weeks, one sat in the tree in my backyard for just like a couple minutes. And I was like, And so if it actually came by the window and not in the tree, like way up high, that would be so cool to see it. Like if I could set up a perch so that it wants to sit there or have its nest there or something, and just watch a peregrine falcon up close. Yeah, I think it would probably be peregrine falcon. Now that you've asked that. What about you? Is there a bird that you would wanna see up close? Just living its life next to you? And I'm just refining the lines here and adding a little more shading with extra hatching, so that it's not just a bunch of lines and then big black marks. I want to have it a little more smooth shading. The transition between shades be smoother. That's what I'm trying to say. There, like this. So it's not just black and then suddenly these lines. No, it's kind of gradually gets to less lines. I like how it's coming along. I think I'm pretty close to done. I'm gonna have a sip of water here. Okay. So I guess I'll add a few more lines. In fact, I'll go to the small end of this brush. To help add to the fluffy, furry texture of this tail. There. That's good. Yeah, gotcha. I'm gonna Google the bird. I'm Googling the birds I know to answer. Roger that. There are so many cool birds, though. Another good one would be any owl. We have a lot of western screech owls here, or at least we have enough that on almost any quiet night, if you go out, you'll be able to hear it. And I would love to actually see one. I've never seen one. I've seen a great horned owl here in my city, but never these western screech owls, which have a different sound. That's another one of those ones where I was just sitting. I still remember it. It was late, super late, like 3 in the morning, summer. So I had the window open, and then I just heard this hoo 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 hoo. And I'm like, what the heck is that? So I'm like trying to figure out the sound. I'm like, oh, western screech owl. And I've never forgotten that. Okay, even though it's similar to this one, I think I'm gonna do some like comic book style lines coming out of here in my last, I don't know, 15 minutes I've got of streaming time to get that mighty feeling, because right now it's just sort of there and doing its thing, but if I add those comic book lines coming out, then maybe that'll give it a sense of like wow, it's amazing. So in order to do that, I'm going to use this, and I was thinking of using this, but it might be too small. I'm actually gonna just go for it and use this really thick brush pen. My focal point will be this tip of the beak. So I'll just do lines coming out from this tip of the beak like this. And hopefully that'll get the idea across that, oh, something amazing is happening. Plus, I think it'll fill in this space a little better, because right now there's a lot of space doing not much of anything. Oh, a robin! Yes! I would like to have a robin friend. Yes. They're so good. I don't know if you have heard of this before, but a long time ago I heard of a lucky thing. I don't know what it is. It's like a thing that people do for luck, and it was that if the first robin you see in spring, if you can make a wish before it flies away. Oh, I gotta be careful. I've got some ink staying on the ruler and coming with it. If you can make your wish before the robin flies away, then you'll get your wish. And so every spring, as soon as I see a robin, I'm like, oh, I gotta make a wish. Ah! I usually just wish for, I hope that I have a great year. And it always comes true, so I guess it works. I always have a great year. Whether or not it actually does anything, I think that's a fun tradition, or whatever you would call that. There's a word for that. It's like a tradition or a superstition. No, it's not really superstition. That sounds like a bad thing, but maybe it's a superstition. Anyway, I think it's really fun. Robins are, I learned that robins are a type of thrush. And I did not know that. I had heard of thrush from The Hobbit. So it says, stand by the gray stone when the thrush knocks and something. And then they'll find the keyhole or whatever to get into the Lonely Mountain. So I've always been like, thrush is a Hobbit thing for me. And then I found out that robins are a type of thrush. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. It's like robins are from The Hobbit. They have nothing to do with The Hobbit, but I don't know, that's how my mind works. Okay, I'm having to wipe. I'm glad I wore black jeans today, because I'm wiping this black ink off onto my jeans, because it's leaving little splotches. So it's getting on the side of the ruler. Okay. So we've got the main lines. Now I think I shall use this smaller pen and add some supporting lines. Or just enhance it with extra lines or something. I don't know. I don't know how to describe what I'm thinking, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Just keep using this tip of the beak as my starting point. And I'm going to do varying lengths. So some I'll do really long, or some shorter, or some medium. Ooh, not bad. Not bad. Not bad. Stand by the gray stone when the thrush knocks something something. And the last light of Durin's day will shine upon the keyhole. I think that's how it goes. I will be wishing this year. Oh, good. Oh, you can wish that the robin will be your friend and come visit you. That would be cute if that came true. I've seen so many bird pictures tonight. I want to adopt one so bad. I have my 2 pigeons. And the one we just rescued, she was, I don't know what her deal was, but she clearly needed help because my dog just literally ran over her. Like, she was just sitting in the ground, and then he couldn't see her because it was dark, and he just ran right over her, and she flew into the lilac bush that was right there, and she didn't move for a whole day. It's like, that's not right. That's not normal. Like, a bird would leave. And then when I was like, oh, maybe she's sick or injured, so I went out to grab her, and I had like rubber gloves on and everything because I don't know if she's sick or who knows. And she just let me grab her. Like, she didn't try to peck me. She didn't try to run away. So I don't know what was wrong with her, but there's clearly something not quite right. And so I heard that pigeons aren't very adoptable. So I was like, well, I have the space. And so we got all this stuff to keep a pigeon. And, well, she's gotten really, now that she lays eggs, she's gotten really protective of them. So that's kind of sad for me because she used to love me and now she sees me as a predator. I don't eat eggs, but she doesn't know that. She's smart. She knows that humans are egg eaters, so I don't begrudge her that. And then Kumo is the one that we adopted from the Best Friends Animal Society. And he lost his foot because he was trapped in some fishing line and it just killed his foot and they had to just remove it. So he definitely could not survive outside or anything. And they are just, now that they're together, they are so sweet together. They love each other and they groom each other and they take turns sitting on the eggs and everything. And it's just so nice. I never had a pet bird before these two. I had, when I was a kid, a flock of chickens. But that's not the same thing as having like a pet bird. 'Cause when I was a kid, I had the chickens and my family ate their eggs and that was basically it. Like, they weren't my pets. They didn't have names or, we didn't hang out together. I just took care of them. Yay! Now the only thing I want to do, and this seems like, this seems great. I've got about 5 minutes left in my streaming window, so I can actually finish on time. But I want to, do I have a big eraser available? Yes, I do. I want to try and see if I can erase any of this ink or if it's just there. This ink that got smudged off of the ruler. Let's see. Oh, you're sorry. You're sorry about, about Kumo's foot, maybe? His poor little pigeon foot that he lost. You wouldn't know it, though. He's fine. Like, he can walk around, and he can fly, and he can just do all the things. The only thing he can't do, he can't sit on a pole, you know, like a round perch. So all of my perches in their cages are flat, so he can have a flat place to stand. That's the only thing that he can't do. So he can't sit on a branch or something. But he seemed perfectly happy here. He loves hanging out with Sora, and he loves eating his seed treats, and then he also just loves his regular food, which is little pellets designed for birds. I'm kind of sad he's afraid of me because he and Sora have something, I don't know what's wrong with them, but they're kind of sick. I think I talked about this last time, but I have to force feed him medicine, and so he's scared of me now because, like, I'm sorry. I can't tell you. There's no way for me to explain that this is truly for your own good. That's okay, though. He has Sora. He's not afraid of Sora. I'm just there to give them food and a home, and then they can have their great lives together in their interesting pigeon ways. Yeah, but I'm glad he is all fine now. Yeah, me too, me too. It was actually the same day that I put in the inquiry saying I have a pigeon and I was hoping to find a companion for her. They were like, oh, we have this pigeon that just finished up his final recovery measures, and he hasn't even been listed for adoption yet, and sounds like a great fit because he can only be indoors since he can't fly, blah, blah, blah. It was just like perfect timing that I put in my inquiry the same day that they were ready to look for someone to take care of him. So it was like fate. He never even went on the adoption site or anything. Okay, I think I'm done. I just want to write. So this is Inktober 52. And it's... how am I always have to check how I'm doing this. I'm just writing the prompt. Mighty. This mighty bird is carrying a stone that weighs a huge amount compared to how much the bird weighs. And then the date. So the date is what? 6th? Ooh. 06 February. Whoops. February. Almost forgot the U. 2023. I would love sometime to bring my pigeons and just be like, here's my pigeons, but they get their feathers all over everything, so I don't want to. I used to try to have them in here with my art stuff, and I'm like, no, they're getting their little pigeon tiny, because they have got these tiny little feathers that are just little specks, and then they get all over everything. No, I can't do that. Anyway, I feel done with this. Let's see if my camera will focus. There we go. There we go. So here is my Mighty Griffin for Inktober 52 week. What is this? Is week 4 or 5? I can't remember. Ta-da! Hooray! I think it turned out pretty good. I don't know if anybody would recognize this as a dormouse, but It's clearly not just a bird, so that's good enough. I think it's recognizable as a griffin. Oh wait, I didn't draw the front legs. Well, whatever, it's too late. It's like a wyvern style griffin. You know, they got, or I can't remember. For dragons, now I'm like coming up with a new type of griffin. But so like for dragons, sometimes there's a dragon that just has a front, that just has a, they're kind of like a bird. Oh my gosh, they're kind of like a bird. They don't have 4 legs and 2 wings. They just have 2 wings and 2 legs. So that's what this is that kind of griffin. Because like, I just replaced the bird legs with this part. This is fine. This is a different kind. Looking amazing. Thank you. Ah! Oh, and look at that. I just hit, oh, I'm about to hit 1 hour, 1 minute. Yay. Okay. I'm going to call the stream good today. Exie, I hope that you have a great night. I know it's got to be pretty late there, as usual. I'll be back on Wednesday, like always, for another Lucky Dip drawing. So I hope I'll see you then. But for now, I'll say goodbye, and thank you for watching.